What's going on, Empire Builders? Brian Downard here, and we have Nate Hirsch with us today. What's going on, Nate?
What's up, Brian? Had another beautiful day in Florida.
Cool, man. I'm out here in Southern California, so I'm glad we can both share some sunshine. And Nate and I met in San Diego a couple weeks, maybe even a month or so ago now. Time's been flying, but we were at a mastermind together, and I really, really loved Nate's style, his company, and everything he's got going on. So I'm excited for him to not only share that, but also break down some really cool stuff today. And I'll let Nate kind of give himself a quick background and bio here in a second, but I'll just quickly say what I know about his company, which I think is awesome. And that is FreeUp, which is, I would say, a marketplace for freelancers and people like business owners who want to hire them, but it's different than what you would see on Upwork or Fiverr or any of those platforms where they just let anyone and everyone in the door. Nate's got a very rigorous system he puts people through, make sure he's only getting the best of the best. So I thought that was really interesting. And Nate, I guess in your own words, I'd love to hear more about from you what you guys have going on.
Yeah, so I've been an entrepreneur since I was 20. I started my first business out of my college dorm room, ended up selling millions of dollars on Amazon, all with the help of hiring these freelancers. I've hired hundreds of freelancers from all over the world, and I know how important it is to surround yourself with good talent. And I always became frustrated because you'd go to Upwork or Fiverr or whatever marketplace you use, and you post a job, get 100 applicants, interview them one by one, and it takes forever. And you never really know what you're going to get. So I wanted a faster way. And that's when the idea for FreeUp came in, where we get hundreds of applicants every week. We vet them not only for their skill, but their attitude and their communication as well. And then we take the top 1%, let them in, and make them available quickly to clients all around the world, providing top-notch customer service on the back end and also a no turnover guarantee. So if any freelancers quit, we cover replacement costs and get them a new worker right away. And it's really all about speed, all about getting access to talent quickly, because I know how important that is on a business owner. And even on the freelance side, I mean, no one wants to apply against 100 people for every single job. It's all about getting access to clients fast.
Yeah, and I love that so much, man, because I definitely struggled with this in my business and still probably do on some levels. And I know a lot of solopreneurs out there do as well. They're not always willing to give up control, or they're worried about someone else taking credit for their work, or just any number of different things, man. So that's why I really loved what you did. Is you went, when you started your first business, right to outsourcing. You found and built a team, and that helped you scale up your business quickly. So we could all definitely learn a lot from you, man. And yeah, why I brought you on today was so we could, one, talk about how freelancers who are in that top 5, maybe top 1% of the best freelancers, how they can go and make more money online. And then two, once those people are ready to start scaling up, how they can start hiring. So I'd love to just get into that first one and maybe talk about what you see with your freelancers and your business and your community. What stands out? What are they doing that makes them better than everyone else and qualifies them to be in something like your site?
Yeah, so we mentioned the skill part of it, and obviously you need to be talented and perfect your craft. But what really separates the FreeUp freelancers is the attitude and the communication. These are people who are very passionate about what they do. They come in every day with a smile on their face. They get invested in their clients' businesses. They treat it like it's their own. The example I always give is I hate bookkeeping. When I hire someone to do my bookkeeping, they have to care about bookkeeping as much as I love being an entrepreneur. Those are the type of people that we look for. And when it comes to communication, you and I both know, Brian, it doesn't matter how talented you are or what your attitude is. If we can't communicate, it's never going to work out. So we have 15 pages of communication best practices that freelancers have to memorize and get tested on before they get in the marketplace, because we know that's the key to clients being happy and freelancers being happy as well. That goes with speaking English properly. Obviously, that's a basic, but it goes well beyond that. It's setting estimates, setting due dates, hitting them, keeping clients updated, not making me or my team contact you or chase you down because a client hasn't heard from you in 3 days. So just keeping people updated, having those time management skills where no client feels like you're too busy for them. And that's really the key to being a freelancer. When you can master the skill, the attitude, and the communication to give that client that really good experience, that's how you grow your business. That's how you get referrals. That's how you get really great reviews and build up your reputation.
Yeah, that's solid advice, man. And I again, just speaking from my own personal experience, when I got started, communication was just terrible with me. Like I was almost scared to communicate with clients because I was like, all right, just gonna give them another opportunity to fire me or something like that. And so, but I realized the ones that I communicated the most with, the ones I built deep relationships with, those were the ones who referred me. Those were the ones who helped me grow my business. So that's really, really solid advice, man. Tell me maybe some of the things, it might just be the exact opposite of what you were describing, but maybe some of the red flags that when you see a freelancer has or wants to join your community, what are things that they're doing that's turning you off and that's probably costing them opportunities?
I mean, the biggest thing is honesty about what you can and cannot do. And that's what I love about the attitude and the communication thing. Because when you find people that have a great attitude and they can communicate, usually they're very honest about what they can and cannot do. But every once in a while, you see a freelancer that overcommits, overpromises. I always tell my assistants, hey, when you're dealing with clients, don't guarantee stuff. Don't put words in that could come back and bite you later. I'm very careful about what I say. I don't say, oh, I guarantee you that within 24 hours, I'm going to get you this perfect freelancer that's going to do your project within 3 hours. Like that's just setting myself up to make my word mean absolutely nothing, because these are real people. Things can happen. So the same thing goes when you're freelancing. If you have a deadline, make sure you give yourself extra time. If you say, hey, I can do this, or hey, I'm going to get it done by this time, make sure that you're actually doing it, because the second that you break your word, the second that due date passes, you've lost all trust with that client. And if you're on the marketplace, it's one of the fastest ways to get kicked out. I mean, there's really two fast ways to get kicked out, and that's not communicating and making me and my team have to reach out to you over and over, or taking on projects that you can't do. It's not a marketplace to experiment or try new things on the client base. It's an experiment for you. It's a place for you to take the skills you already have and apply them at a very high level.
Yeah, really, really smart. And, I think a lot of freelancers who are just starting, they might be intimidated by that. They might not think they have, the skill set to either be in your community just yet or, work for the higher level clients. So what do you tell to the people who, or what advice would you give to them if they're just, there may be a good fit, but they're just not there yet? What kind of things do they need? Would you recommend they go do work for free to get some results? What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, well, first of all, the attitude and the communication you can focus on right from the beginning, even if you're building up your skills. And I still encourage you to apply to get on the free up marketplace. If you get rejected, you're not banned for life. You can always apply again in the future. So it's worth filling out an application. Just like any business owner, you always want to increase your revenue streams. And whether you have a profile on Upwork and Fiverr and you're posting on social media and you have your own website, free up is just another way for you to get clients for your business. So definitely at least fill out an application. In terms of building your skill set, I do recommend taking stuff for free. I mean, you always want to treat something as an investment. You want to only take tasks that you're taking something out of it, but maybe it's not free. Maybe it's a lower rate to start, or maybe it's trying with a friend or be doing an apprenticeship under another freelancer, or following you and hiring your courses. There's so many ways nowadays with the internet where you can watch YouTube videos and learn and continue to perfect your craft, and even apply the same things that you would do for a client to your own business. If you're a graphic designer, make sure your website is beautiful and at the top line. If you're a Facebook ad person, run Facebook ads for your freelance business. Really practice what you preach and show clients that you're not only are saying you can do something, but you can do it as well.
Cool, man. Very cool. And now when, say, someone puts in not an application for a freelancer, but a business is looking for a freelancer, what, things are they usually searching for in your community? What's the most in-demand services right now? So what should freelancers be focused on?
Yeah, it's crazy because when we started, it was mostly Amazon sellers, because I was a big Amazon seller and we had all these VAs. It was fairly easy to be like, hey, try these VAs that I've already used. And then that kind of expanded to the e-commerce community, because e-commerce is booming right now. If you don't know anything about e-commerce, I definitely recommend getting involved there, to Shopify, Amazon, eBay, Walmart. And then they started telling their other business communities, and that's when we really branched out to content writing and bookkeeping and Facebook ads and other digital marketing. So for me, I'm always trying to stay up to date with the times. I mean, cryptocurrency is something that's huge now. I mean, you should be constantly trying to stay up to date with what's popular. I know Facebook ads has been booming since about 6 months, 1 year ago. Really stay up to date with that and use those things to advance your skills. If you're a writer, for example, learning about cryptocurrency can land you more future writing gigs. It's not always one or the other. So a lot of it is just staying up with the market. You never really know what's going to walk in the door. I can spend one day where all the requests I get are Amazon, or they're all bookkeepers, or people only want US or non-US. It's very random.
Okay, cool, man. Yeah, the advice I typically give is tell people to find, if you want to develop a new skill, just find a gray area within a client's business. So if you're doing social media advertising or just social media management and you want to do Facebook ads, find clients who will be willing to let you test, a small budget, dip your toes in. So you find that gray area where you can get paid to do skills you already have, but then start to dip your toes into areas where you could probably earn more as a freelancer. I think that's actually will lead me to a great question. What are the skills then, you kind of talked about some of what you've seen as popular. What are the most high paying skills? Like what should be focused on if you want to earn the most as a freelancer? Technical stuff, creative?
Yeah, great question. So we break it down into 3 levels, keeping in mind that these are real people and they don't always fit into these levels. So you've got the virtual assistant, the basic, the lower level person, $5 to $10 an hour, non-US. They're for clients that have their systems and processes in place. These clients want to outsource it, so they hire those type of people. Then you've got the mid-level. They're $10 to $30 an hour usually. They're specialists. They're people that do one thing very well. They do the same thing 8 to 10 hours a day. Maybe it's graphic design or writing, or they optimize Amazon listings. So that's kind of your mid-range. And then you've got the experts, so 20 to 50 plus per hour. These are people who can go into a business and consult. They can audit a business and create a long-term game plan. They can help create systems and processes for the outsourced labor. They can project manage. They can either manage other people or other tasks. So it really just depends. Are you trying to focus on being a specialist? And you can build a great business being a specialist, building a team and doing the same thing over and offering a very consistent service. Or are you trying to be top level where you can actually come in and give clients advice and give them options and point them in the right direction? Now, there's a lot more risk involved in that, and you have to really know what you're doing to build a strong reputation, but those would be the higher paying jobs.
Yeah, you know what's crazy about that to me is what's interesting. It almost goes like, generalist at the lower level, specialist in the middle, and then it kind of goes back to generalist again. I mean, you have to be really, really good generalist, like you were just saying, and actually know your shit. But it's interesting where you don't have to necessarily be a specialist. You need to go into a business and be able to audit what they're doing and, offer a number of different possible routes that they might need to go down.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of those top people, they specialize, but they specialize in 3 to 5 different things. They do all of them at a very high level. Or the really smart ones, maybe they don't know graphic design, but they've built a Rolodex of graphic designers that are part of their team, so that if they're doing social media, for example, they can offer the graphic design to their clients and make money, even though that's not really their specialty.
Right, man. Awesome. Seriously. So as I'm just thinking through this as well, tell me, we can transition here a little bit, because I think it's a good time. So tell me that person, that freelancer who is at that level, who they do have a lot of skills, they think they can, seriously offer something more to their clients, that whatever, and they're ready to scale. They don't want to do everything by themselves. What's typically, I know besides going to your website, you guys make it easy, but what would be like the first few things you need to start doing? You need to start making systems in your business. Like, what do you need to start looking at if you're ready to start outsourcing?
First step is start looking at your freelancing as a business, because that's what it is. And so many freelancers still have that employee mindset, and they're thinking, hey, I work for 3 different clients, but I'm really working for the client, not with the client. They don't think of it as a business-to-business relationship. So step 1, you've got to get out of that mindset. You have to look at yourself as a business. And businesses scale. They diversify. They find different revenue streams. The business owner doesn't do everything. So getting into that mentality of hiring is tough, but it's the only way to get your business to the next level. We have freelancers that are billing 150 plus hours a week and working 20 to 30. It is possible. And the way that you start is by coming up with a list of things that you do on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month basis. And there's always 2 ways to hire. You start on the easiest side and you get out of the daily operations and you start hiring someone to answer your emails, to do any data entry work you have, to maybe source products or find leads, whatever it is that applies for your business. And then there's the higher level stuff. We talked about that Rolodex of graphic designers. Maybe you're not a website person, but you hire someone to build your website and make it look very professional. Maybe you hire a marketing person for your freelance agency, or you figure out what other freelancers can I white label for my clients. So really figuring out what are the day-to-day operations that I can get out of, and then also what are the high-level things that I really shouldn't be spending my time on if I want to get to the next level.
Yeah, and really solid advice. And data entry is probably at the top of that list. I mean, I learned the hard way building websites in the past about, I need to do all of this. I need to enter hundreds of products. And I mean, just the stupidest thing I could be doing with my time, because there's very hardworking, dedicated, smart people who will gratefully do it because, of course, $5, $10 an hour is worth a lot more where they live in the world. We do that for you and free up so much of your time. So as long as you have those built-in margins in your projects, there's a lot of room for that. So I'm curious, for your platform, the higher level freelancers, if they're getting paid hourly and they already have a team, how do you kind of deal with that? It's almost like you're hiring a freelancer who has their own freelancers. Is there any walls or any red tape you have up to kind of make sure that the quality of work still there? I'm curious about that.
Yeah, so first of all, we don't force anyone to do hourly. People are more than welcome to offer fixed prices. You can offer your business, your services however you want. We don't limit you in any way. Awesome. One thing we try to avoid is anything commission-based, just because it's a pain. It's impossible. Let's say that you take a percentage of someone's revenue. Like, what am I going to do? Go into this client's business and figure out what their revenue is and make them pay X percentage? That's not realistic. So we want some kind of fixed prices or monthly retainer or something, or hourly, but you're welcome to do it however you want. In terms of the quality, I mean, we tell people straight up, we have the expectation that you're transparent. Don't tell someone that you're doing it if it's really your team doing it. You should be like, hey, you're hiring my agency, you're hiring me and my team. Or what a lot of freelancers will do is they'll have two different rates. They'll say, hey, my rate is $50 an hour. My team's rate is $40 an hour. And maybe their team costs them 15 to 20, whatever it is.
Right.
So whenever they're doing high level work for the client, they're billing their rate. It's worth their time. Whenever their team's working, they're billing that lower rate. The client likes it because they're not paying top dollar for every little thing. They also don't have to manage as many people because you're responsible for your team. And the freelancer likes it because they make money even when they're not working. So all that can be done in our system. We just ask that you're transparent with the client. And then we also tell people, I mean, you're responsible for your team. If your team mess up, you can't blame it on them. It's on you messing up. You have to be the point person for your client. All the communication, all the best practices, everything that we preach to freelancers still applies for you and your team. So we have plenty of freelancers that do it at an incredibly high level. We've had freelancers where they can't manage other people. It's a skill set that some people don't have, and they are better as a solo freelancer. So if you are looking to build a team, it is possible through FreeUp.
Okay, very cool. And now, do you have any kind of system or program where you help the freelancers who come onto your site get clients, or is it kind of like once they sign up, once a client signs up, it's just kind of a free for all and they find each other, or do you help freelancers specifically find people?
So clients submit a worker request whenever they need a new freelancer, and it takes about a minute. It has all the information from U.S., non-U.S., what price range they're trying to have, any information about their business, stuff like that. And we post it on our project board that freelancers get access to. We have Skype group chats that are optional. You're more than welcome to be in, and we put them in by category. So all the Shopify people are in a group chat, all the Amazon people, whatever it is. It's kind of a cool community because you're with similar-minded freelancers. You can talk and learn from each other and all that. So we'll post them in there. If you don't like Skype, they're in the project board. Whenever you want a ticket, you reach out to my assistants and they add you to it. And we add 1 to 3 freelancers per ticket unless the clients request more. So you're not competing against 100 people for every ticket. It's fast. The client only has 10 to 15 minutes to interview to decide if they want to hire. So you don't have to spend weeks or days interviewing with different people. But I mean, if we know someone's a good freelancer, we know they're looking for a certain thing, we'll ping them and be like, hey, this is open if you want it. But we're not necessarily forcing jobs on people. It's up to them if they want to take it. And there is something on their end where they need to monitor the project board, and when tickets come in, they need to be the person to jump on.
Yeah, yeah, I love it, man. I mean, it really seems like you've got, a perfect platform for freelancers where one, they can start and grow a business, but once they get to a point where they have so much business they can't deal with it, then they can start using your platform to outsource. It's this nice, 1-2 hit there for sure.
Absolutely.
So I won't take up too much of your time, man. I know you got a lot going on, but as we kind of wrap this up, I'd like to go back to hiring and outsourcing. And what would your advice be to a freelancer? I know we talked about, writing out all your day-to-day tasks, which you can kind of outsource, but what about the freelancer who just feels like they aren't charging enough, or they just can't break through that glass ceiling of being a solopreneur? Like they really want to scale up and you could easily write down their daily tasks and processes, but they're just can't break through that glass ceiling. Would you recommend just increasing your prices, or what do you think?
Yeah, you got to know your numbers, right? It's like any other business. If you don't know your numbers, eventually something bad is going to happen. We've had freelancers, this was back when we were first starting, and we're trying to figure out like how we're pricing and obviously letting freelancers set their own prices, which is the way we have it now. But I mean, there were times where freelancers, they couldn't figure out what was good for them, what was bad for them. And the last thing that we want freelancers to do is to agree to a rate and then come back in a few weeks or a month and be like, I messed up. I charged too little. I have to upcharge it. And then you really are just baiting and switching the clients. And then I have to get involved and it's a whole mess. So we only want freelancers that can give a rate and stick with the rate with the client unless something crazy happens or the client is changing the scope, whatever it is. So I strongly encourage you to sit down, look at it as a business, figure out what your expenses are, what your taxes are, what you can afford to pay other people, what do you actually need to live, whether it's fixed price or hourly, and really only taking tickets once you have a full comprehension of those numbers. And if you have taken clients that are too low and you need to move on to other ones, I mean, if you drop clients on FreeUp, we kick you out of the marketplace. So we can't, that would be a nightmare for me if everyone's just dropping clients for higher price tickets.
Right.
But there are other ways around it. You can integrate with them with your team. Maybe instead of spending 10 hours a week with them, you spend 2 hours a week and the rest is done by your team. And then you take on a higher client. And we'll problem solve with you. We're on your side. We're not interested in making you be stuck with a client or making the client unhappy. We want both sides to be happy. But depending on the situation, there are ways to problem solve to build up this team that benefits both parties.
Cool, man. Very cool. Well, listen, Nate, this has been, such a ridiculous amount of good advice in only about 25 minutes. So I really, really appreciate you spending some of your time with us today. Where can people go to learn more? I know it's just freeup.com.
Yeah, freeup.com with 3 E's. If you're interested in hiring people, my calendar is right at the top. I'd love to talk to you. You can create a free account on the client side. You can apply to be a freelancer on the freelancing side. Check out the FreeUp blog with lots of great tips on freelancing, on hiring. And Brian, thanks so much for having me. And I look forward to seeing a lot of you in the community.
Absolutely, man. And everyone watching, thank you so much for checking this out. I will drop the links below this video so you can click right through. And I would highly recommend Nate's stuff. He's a sharp guy and even better person. So thanks again, Nate, so much. And we'll talk soon, man.
One more thing. Don't forget to mention Brian's name to get expedited into the interview process.
Okay, good, man. Hook you guys up.
Awesome.
Have a great time, man.